Yo, how's it going, guys? Today we're playing Swordsoul, but with gambling. It's Speedroid, a very fun synchro deck with a unique gambling gimmick. Somehow it still manages to stay super consistent, and that's what we'll be looking at today. I'll be going over the deck list, why I chose to play which cards, and then I'll show you guys some replays. So, starting off, what even is the point of this deck? You're just trying to synchro climb. They're all wind monsters. You get locked into only special summoning wind monsters and only using wind monster effects. So we're running only winds. Our first extra deck card is the Cork Shooter. If all the materials used for the synchro summon were Speedroid monsters and they're in your graveyard, you're gonna special summon them back. Just like Soul Charge. This helps you get so many bodies onto the field. Another card that helps with that is the Higuita. Another huge combo piece. It gets to bring itself back if you control a Speedroid tuner, letting it go into tons of synchros. And the high Speedroid Rubber Band Shooter, a Link 2, which uses any 2 wind monsters, and getting to make this by itself already guarantees you at least one synchro boss monster on your end board. This is kind of like Isolde for warrior decks, but not ban worthy, basically. So going through our engine pieces, we have Terra Top. It's limited for a reason. The card is so good. Speedroid best deck, trust. Basically, you special summon this for free if you control no monsters, and then you can add a Speedroid from your deck to your hand. We're going to be grabbing Takatomborg a lot of the time. The special summons itself if you control a wind monster, and you contribute it to grab a Speedroid tuner from your deck. Usually this will be the Red Eye die. This is really cool. This lets you basically roll the die, except you actually choose from 1 through 6, and you get to change the level of another Speedroid monster you control. Really nice, really unique what it does for the deck. It's not a once per turn either. However, you don't actually want to see this in your hand. You want to search this off of the Takatomborg. So we're only running one of these. If it gets stuck in your hand, that's really unfortunate. However, we can get it out of there or out of the graveyard after we've already spent it using the Daiko Duke. You banish this from your graveyard and you special summon a Speedroid tuner from your hand or graveyard. Another extender is the Car Turbo. If you control a wind, you special it out. And it has a graveyard effect that lets us boost our attack. Ultra Hound. On summon, you just dump a Speedroid card from your deck to the graveyard, and its graveyard effect gives you some nice follow-up on your next turn. This card by itself can result in RBS to combo off by sending the duplicate. This is basically just compulsory evacuation device. You just banish wind from your graveyard and bounce a card your opponent controls, and once per duel, if it's in your graveyard, you steal a level of one of your Speedroids and summon this as a level 1 tuner. So you'll have the Ultra Hound send this, summon itself back, link off into this, and then you pop off. Also in the double yo-yo, you don't really want to open this either, since this doesn't let you start playing. It's kind of nice if you draw it on turn 3, after you already have some stuff in the graveyard, after it's already set up, but usually you'll just be looking for this during your combo, so we're only going to be running one of them. Same for the Piper. You don't really want to see it. You can special it out as part of some of your combos, and when it's summoned, you get to reveal the top cards of your deck, depending on how many other wind monsters you control, and then you get to add one of those cards from your deck to your hand. And it doesn't say Speedroid monsters, it doesn't say Speedroid cards, it just says any card. It's literally Pot of Prosperity for free. Really nice card to have in your deck. And last we have the Marble Machine. This card is kind of like Terra Top, but you need to normal summon for it. Some people say, oh, that's just not as good, it's kind of bad, I'm only going to play like 2 of them. But the thing is, this actually combos with almost any other card in your deck. So the Marble Machine plus Car Turbo is full combo. Marble Machine plus Takatomborg is full combo. Marble Machine plus Terra Top is just full combo because Terra Top by itself combos anyways. And the Marble Machine plus the Unicorn is also full combo. So that's really cool. And our last card is the wheel. This is the only real gambling card we have. You discard a card, roll a die, and then you special summon up to 2 Speedroids whose total level equals the die result from your deck. They have their effects negated, so don't try to summon out the Terratop and then hope you can use its effect. Instead, you want to summon out a Daiko Duke, and then you can use its graveyard effect. If you need the graveyard attack boost of Card Turbo, you can try to get that one out as well. But normally, you're just going to be linking them off for the rubber band shooter anyways. Move the extra deck. Cork Shooter, Soul Charges, just revives all the materials you used for it. You're going to be using the red eye die and then changing the level of one of your non-tuners to 2, and then you can bring them back here. Be careful. There's a few traps you could walk into, a few pitfalls when you're learning the deck, and don't worry, I made all the mistakes so you don't have to. It's really important that the materials are Speedroid monsters that are now in your graveyard. So there's a few cards that don't work with this. Now, those would be the Takatombo, can only be special summoned once per turn. So if you special summon this out, then you can't special summon it back from the graveyard. Another card that we have a confliction with is the Marble Machine. Since if you use this as Synchro material, it actually goes to the face-up extra deck since it's a pendulum and not to the graveyard. So you can't use that for it. And you can't do the Ultra Hound for a duplicate combo to get there, because duplicate, when it goes to the graveyard, is a trap again and no longer the monster that was used as material. Next you have Chambara, the OTK machine. It attacks twice, recurs some of your banished cards. It just kills. It's so nice. Goida is part of your combo. If you control a Speedroid tuner, you get to revive it. So you make this, make a bigger Synchro with it, summon it back, make another bigger Synchro with it. Very nice combo piece, and it's great for follow-up on the next turn as well. Next, it gets a little bit interesting since the rubber band shooter has 2 effects. One of them gives you an additional normal summon, but you can only summon Synchro monsters for the rest of the turn. This is why this is the only Link monster we're running, and we're running a ton of Synchros. And the other effect lets you banish a wind Synchro monster from your extra deck to reveal 2 Speedroids with different names whose total levels equal the level of that Synchro monster, and then your opponent randomly gives you one of those 2. Now, this seems really questionable. Why would you 50-50 it? Why would you leave it up to chance that your opponent will randomly give you the card that you need to continue your combo? And that's what makes this deck so interesting, is that it doesn't matter, because you can build your combos in such a way that no matter which result you get, you can still perform the combo. So usually what you're going to be doing is you're going to be sending level 7 to send Terratop or Double Yo-Yo. And if you get the Terratop to your hand and the Double Yo-Yo goes to the graveyard, you can just summon out the Terratop and combo from there. And if it's the reverse, Terratop goes to the graveyard, you get the Double Yo-Yo, then you'll just summon out the Double Yo-Yo, use its effect to revive the Terratop, and then use that to search, and it's the exact same game state, you just have an extra body as well. So you still get the combo off regardless. Other lines, you're searching for a level 3 tuner, so you just reveal a 6 and get 2 level 3 tuners. You'll get one of those guaranteed that you need. So very, very unique. Now, this also means that we need to run some different leveled wind Synchro monsters. So for our 6, we're going to be running the Stardust Charge Warrior. This gives you a draw. That's nice. The other targets are just not as good. You can also use this in a Shen line, which gets you the draw, and then you make the Shen. Pretty nice. For our 7s, we have the Clearwing Synchro Dragon and the Clearwing Fast Dragon. This one negates level 5 or higher monsters, and if a level 5 or higher monster is targeted, then you can also negate that. So that's pretty cool. This card is really good into cash, since they're all level 5 or higher monsters. And if they try to use Fenrir to banish one of your guys, they're targeting it, so you can negate that too. Pretty cool. This one negates an extra deck monster and changes its attack to 0. Also very nice. What I usually do in this meta is I banish this one as my 7 first, but if you know your matchup, then of course you can choose whichever one is better. I also used to run a third one, so I can keep both of the clear wing dragons. More on that in a second. And I would run the Wind Pegasus ad Ignister, which if you summon it, it lets you pop a back row without targeting it. And otherwise you just always banish that one off the rubber band shooter. For our 8s, we have the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. And you'll see we're running 2 of these. And the reasoning is it's very easy to make 2 of them. You have more hands that let you make double Crystal Wing than you have hands that let you make like Crystal Wing Baron or something. And it's also not a once per turn, which is really nice. It has like a lot of hidden effects that nobody knows. So obviously it's just a monster effect negate. You get to negate any monster effect, destroy the card. But then you also gain attack equal to the destroyed monster. So if you negate like a Nibiru, you just gain 3000 attack. If you negate something else on the field, you steal their attack. But if you negate something in the graveyard, it still gets negated, but it doesn't get destroyed because it's already dead, right? So you don't gain the attack bonus there. And if you pet a level 5 or higher monster, you just gain attack equal to their attack. It's pretty nutty. The other level 8, some people cut this. I think it's just too good to not play. If you summon it, you either negate all face-up cards your opponent currently controls. That's not just monsters. That's like floodgates and everything, right? Really, really nice. Or you destroy all other cards on the field. Sort of like Black Rose Dragon. So this going second lets you clear boards so well. It's so good. It's such a nice card. Our Synchro 9 here is Shen Shen. I think it's just the best 9 target. I think the other one is Wolfrayet, which is also very interesting. I can pull that one up. This one right here. Basically, it gains attack each time another monster effect gets activated. And then if it has 4000 or more attack, you just get to quick effect, shuffle it, and all monsters your opponent controls into the deck. So this is actually pretty nice in some metas, but I think Shen Shen is just so much nicer right now. Any card sent from the field to the graveyard is just banished instead. This hurts so many decks on the recovery. And then you have the effect that if you attack, you get to return a banished monster to your graveyard. This lets you recycle the graveyard effects of like the Car Turbo or of the Daiko Duke. And it also lets you put back the synchros that you banished so you can recover them from the graveyard later. Baron, of course, as our 10. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just an Omni Negate. It pops a card. It's super good. You can bring back stuff in the standby phase. You can make it again. It's really, really good. The alternative to this is the Crystal Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. It's a bit harder to make, and you can make yourself be unaffected by monster effects, and you can negate a spell trap card. And it also gives you a bit of follow-up. I'm not running it. I think Baron is just better, but there's definitely some use cases for this one instead as well. The Rider is our level 11. This card is so crazy. If you get this to resolve, you basically just win the game anyways. It's so crazy. You gamble with this card as well, which makes it feel even more satisfying. You roll a die, and then you get to shuffle that many wind monsters from your graveyard back into your deck, recovering your synchros, recovering your rubber band shooter, recovering like drolls if you want. You put some engine back into the deck. So nice. And then you get to pop cards your opponent controls up to that number, and you gain attack. So you just wipe their whole board, have 6000 attack, and you just swing for game. And if your opponent somehow doesn't die, you can tribute this during their main phase to summon 2 level 7 wind synchro monsters with different names from your extra deck. And this is where we're going to be using the Clearwing Fast Dragon and the Clearwing Synchro Dragon. So it's really nice to have these 2 left in your extra deck. This is why running a third level 7 Synchro is so nice, because you blow up their entire field with this, and then they somehow still think they can play, and you just get out 2 more negates for free. So good. For the rest of the deck choices, we have the Small World, which lets you bridge anything. using Droll. Super nice. Droll is so good this format too. Plus wind hand traps are really, really nice here, because if you have this plus Takatomborg or Card Turbo or something, you can just normal sum this out, special out the extender, boom, you got the RBS. You can combo off. Very nice. Maxi obviously broken, so you need to run it, and Ash Blossom to counter it, and Call by the Grave to counter it, and Cross the Designator to counter it. I'm running one Ghost Bell because I have it. I don't think this is necessarily the best choice. It's not terrible. It hits some decks a little bit. Nobody really expects it, so nobody actually plays around it. But I think there's definitely better cards for the slot. Something else that's really nice is Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill. It's basically just Effect Veiler, but it's also a wind, and it's level 3 tuner. So that lets you go for Baron off of the cash cards, and it lets you go into RBS with any extender. Speaking of which, the cash cards, we're running 3 Unicorn, 1 Birth to search off of it, and this gives you a free wind body, so this plus any normal summon already makes at least a Rubber Band Shooter, and then you can just bring it back off of the Birth as well, using it as another body, or using it for Disruption by itself. Super nice card. Godarla, the Kaiju, we're running basically 4 copies of it, since we can search off a Small World so easily. Very nice to out some things in this meta, like Pearly. Very annoying. Let's just get rid of it. Boom, get mothed. Triple Tactics Talent, also very good card. Like the effects are all from banned cards. I think it goes crazy. Infinite Impermanence is also a good hand trap. You can't Small World this away, but if you draw it as your draw for turn going second, it at least gives you some disruption. And then we have Gozen Match. All our monsters are wind. We do not care about Gozen Match. It does not inhibit us in the slightest. And it destroys so many decks. It's truly the Master Duel special here, running the 1 Floodgate and 45 for going first and winning harder. We'd probably cut this normally, but I mean, sacking people is just too funny sometimes. All right, let's get straight to the replay. Alrighty, so the standard Speedroid combo ends on Baron plus Crystal Wing. So we're going to be showing off some other spicy and more unique lines you can go for. So this is just normal line off of the RBS by itself. This gives us a Crystal Wing or something. I'm going to go for the Shen line, which also gives you a draw, but I do have the Takatomborg in hand. So instead of searching for that off the Terra Top like I normally would, I'll be searching for the Piper, which I can bring out with the Duke after using the Corkscrew to revive right here. And this will let me reveal the top 4 cards of my deck to grab one. And this is how we grab the Gozen Match. Kind of disgusting, but don't feel bad, we're playing against a stun player. Make the Hogoida to go into the Crystal Wing Synchro, bring it back, and here we make our Shen. Set the Gozen Match, we have a Monster Negate, we have the Banish, we have the Maxi. Activating the Gozen Match here. And I'm going to be searching for a bunch of stuff here. Grabbing this will get popped right away. Get the attack boost. And it's disgusting. He beats over us, but he sees there's no way he's winning this. So he scoops. Alright, next up we have a really awkward hand. We have the Red Eye Die, which we don't want to see. We have the Godarla going first, not the best. Crossout is not really bad, but since we don't have a way to play, it's not good either. And this is where we're just praying that Speedroid Wheel gets us anything at all. Gonna be pitching the Red Eye Die here. And we're rolling a 5, so good. We get the Daiko Duke here. Now we have the Ash Blossom for the Maxi. There's a thought process. Do you want to use the Crossout or do you want to use the Ash here? So if I use the Crossout here, I get to keep Ash for their turn, right? But I get punished if they have another hand trap. And since I think this is pretty fine, I have some good disruption. They already went down a card. I think I'll just play it safe, keep the Crossout here. And we just use the Ash here. a way to beat Imperm on our band shooter, because that would really hurt. And turns out they don't have it. So we're just going to go for a normal line, reel a 7, reel Terror Top, and the Yo-Yo. We'll get the Terror Top, and we'll sum out the Red Eye die, go into our Cork Shooter here, bring back the materials, go for some spicy level modulation, and we're going for the Stardust Charge Warrior here, ripping into triple tactics, crazy, drawing 2 cards. We get the spicy Maxi here with the Takatombo, Kaiju, cross out. Our hand's already looking really nice. We tribute summon the Unicorn, grab Birth, Synchro off into Barone, and now we bring this back. Already formidable board, and now we can use the Takatombo here, go for the Piper, reveal top 2 cards of our deck, and we'll get some follow-up for next turn. Draw phase, we're going to fire off the Maxi here. And our opponent's playing Kashtira, but you wouldn't have guessed it because they scoop it up right away. Once again, we've opened the Red Eye die and the Kashtira Birth, both bricks, kind of unfortunate. But what is fortunate is that Small World gets us a Terror Top, which is our 1-card combo. However, we get Impermed here, and this is where things get really funny, where opening the Red Eye die is actually a good thing, since we now normal summon it to level modulate the Terror Top, and we go straight into the Cork Shooter. And now we start comboing off a bit, get nibbed, activate talents to draw 2 cards, and now we have a Maxi of our own. We have a Takatombo for next turn. Graveyard unfortunately doesn't have anything in it, so we're just going to hope for some draws. And they're on Runick, banishing. Nice extender we have here, but not playing into the Maxi. They don't have a battle phase, they can't out the token here. And we draw the Marble Machine. Very nice draw here. They of course have the Nib token, so they only get 1 summon. Unfortunate for them, that means no disruption. And now we go for Takatombo here. Real top 2 cards, goes and match. Very disgusting, of course. Agoida here, and since we know it's Runick, we go into Shen, which really hurts the deck. We boost up with the card turbo to be over the token, and now we use the Shen to bring it back so we can use it again next turn. Setting the Birth as a bluff in hopes of them hitting that instead of the Gozen. Now we get Raigeki'd, and he snipes the right one. Very unfortunate here. Gets to recover some cards, draw some more. Summons out the Hugin. Coral Dragon, discard a card, pop my other card. I guess it had value. It ate one of his cards from hand. Goes in the Baron, draws another card, sets one. And this looks pretty bad for us. We have the Triple Tactics talent, and now the Shen can banish 2 cards with different types and attributes. So your Speedroid plus any of your non-wind hand traps means Ash Blossom. In this case, it's Maxi as well. Also, I'm running a Go spell, but that's not always the best thing. This just brings itself back here and has its effect to Macrocosmos again. Of course, he can't ever let this resolve because this turns off his whole deck basically. So we force it out and we get the best draws off of the Triple Tactics. We get the special the Unicorn for free. Unfortunately, now I'm sad that Birth is gone. But double Yo-Yo goes really crazy, but we get Max Seed. Doesn't matter, we're playing into this. Speedroids are really good. Going second. Going to the Cork Shooter. Bring back the die again. I'm going to level modulate a little bit so we can make the Kite Drake here. And it's going to negate everything he has on the board. And so he pops it as fast as he can. Of course, the Fountain is now negated. And we get to search follow-up because he popped this. Bring out the Higuaida. Go into this. Make the Baron. Clear his back row here. And we're going to negate this. And now, since we've already used the Baron negate here, it doesn't really do much for us anymore. So we're going to synchro it off with the Red Eye die to make the bike. A nice summon animation. We're going to use the bike. Roll a 3. Put back the Baron. Put back the Synchro 8. Put back the Terror Top. We're going to pop his card. Only one of them. And we boost our attack. And this gets us to lethal damage. We were missing a little bit since they had full health or something. We still had the Daikar Duka graveyard. So that would have brought back another body, and regardless of how much or how little attack that has, the 800 boost would have pushed us over 8,000 life points. Now, this one is truly one of the games of all time. Our opponent plays a little bit awkwardly. We also misplay a little bit here, but it all turns out well in the end. It's mainly here in the replays to showcase the adaptability of the deck and how you can adjust your lines to fit to whatever you need. I definitely think I should not have greeted here and just use the Speedroid wheel. Pitch the Droll or the Imperm. Droll is probably better, since it's way better at just shutting them down. And maybe I could have baited out his Imperm here earlier or extended without having to go through RBS. It is a big choke point after all. And it's kind of unlucky. I lose the Imperm too to the Duster. So all I have is Droll and a Dream. And it turns out they're on Sky Strikers here. So my back row gets popped. And he normal summons Yatagarasu, letting him skip the draw phase of my next turn. Meaning I can only play with what I already have in rotation. Gets the Gagari to add this back. Goes in Shizuku. Probably searching for Engage here. There it is. And the Yatagarasu hops back up to his hand. Now we know 3 of his cards in hand. It's Yatagarasu, it's the Engage, and it's the Linkage. And then one of them I think is unknown, right? Yeah. Alright, so we're going to use the wheel now to pitch the Droll, hitting a 5, thankfully. So lets us get the Duke out. And we're going to go into RBS. And we're just going to start comboing off. What's important to note is that Ray will come back if we out the Shizuku. So we need to go into Crystal Wing first so we can negate that. So it's just standard stuff. Climbing up to the Cork Shooter, bringing us back some bodies. And now here's where we do the level modulation magic. We're going to get the Hagoida here as a 5. Cork Shooter is a 6 now. Bring back the die to change levels some more. And this is really awkward, but we do make another Cork Shooter here. Now you're thinking, what the heck are you doing, man? So the material requirement for Crystal Wing Synchro is any tuner and then 1 or more non-tuner Synchro monsters. So this means the constellation that we had would not have worked with the Red Eye Die and the level 2 Terror Top then and the Hakoida. It would have been 8 levels. We would have had our tuner. We would have had a Synchro non-tuner, but all the non-tuners need to be Synchros. So doing it this way is Hagoida will be the only non-tuner, and it doesn't matter what the Cork Shooter is as long as it's a tuner, right? This way we still get to go into our Crystal Wing here. Now we bring back the Hagoida to make Shen here. My bad, the bike here. What am I talking about? I can't even do math. We hit the 6, which goes crazy. Got to put back a lot of stuff. We only pop 1, so we only gain attack for 1 as well. And now we get to negate the Ray here. And we have exact lethal. 8,000 damage. On the nose. And for our final replay, we're going to be playing against Mikanko here. Have Unicorn plus Marble Machine is full combo. But we do get Max Seed. Maybe we were just a bit too greedy. Could have small worlded for an Ash Blossom here. But instead, we're going to small world for a Droll. Hope it just skips their turn. Hope Unicorn hurts them. We sent the Herald. So we know we saw the extra. We know it's basically Mikanko. And we're just hoping that Droll will be enough to stop the turn here. We're going to get rid of Zeus here, as well as fire the Droll. And it doesn't seem like they opened any kaijus, so we're pretty fine here. Could have banish from the graveyard. Very important, since the Great Mikanko Ceremony gets to banish itself to send any Mikanko to the graveyard. And they do have ways of reviving stuff. So we want to make sure that these get cleared out ASAP. That's what we're using the birth for here. And it turns out he did have a kaiju, so he's gonna swing for some damage here. I guess he doesn't care about Unicorn resolving because he doesn't use the extra deck anyways. We draw another one. Pretty terrible draw, but we do get to normal summon this for Baron. Bring back the Unicorn. Pop the Ohime here. Go into RBS. Banish the 7 with the double yo-yo here because we're actually just better, I guess. Terra Top grabs us the die for this to summon out here. Now we go into Cork Shooter, bring back the die, not using the effect here, so we can go into Kite Drake, which we're not using to actually do anything. To blow up the field because it blows up our own field. We're using it here to negate the effects of all face-up cards he controls. And this is important because the Fire Dance gives the effect that the equip monster cannot be destroyed by card effects. So we can't pop this to get rid of the body and stuff, and we also can't attack into it because while it's equipped with an equip card, it cannot be destroyed by a battle either, and we take all the damage. So now this is turned off. We're rolling the 1 to put back the Baron, but we're popping this. Doesn't matter if we pop it or not, since the effect is negated. We will still be dealing the full damage here. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed. We got the big win streak here. Submitted the deck list to the website. I'll put the link in the description to the deck list as well, so you can grab that. If you have any questions, go ahead and just ask away. But if you're looking for combo guides, other people have done really good work on that. They're much better than whatever I could do now. So definitely go check those out. There's even a website for Speedroids. I'll put a link to that in the description as well. They'll have all the combos linked in there, and you can use that as a resource for learning as well. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.